Cool. Oh boy, I'm in the hot seat now.
Yeah. So hello everyone, I'm Nick, and I'm joined today by Cecilee. So welcome.
Yes, indeed. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to come and chat with me here. Yay!
Yeah. So we've written a song together. So I thought I'd bring you on the channel and everyone can get to meet you. So the song's called Porcelain and it'll be out on the 2nd of June. So yeah, welcome. So I wanted to know a bit about your background. So how did you get into music?
Well, I've kind of always been into music. So my parents, especially when I was a kid, they wanted my brother and I to get into something that preferably wasn't sports because my brother had teeth issues. And so my mom was like, no, you're not going to play football like all the other little boys. Let's have you go and, bang on the drums instead. So it was something that my parents got me into. Not that they really had to coax me into it, honestly. Because I've always grown up around a lot of music. Like I was hearing a lot of 50s and 60s music from my parents. And then eventually I liked my own stuff. But I've just always been one of those people. Like I go to Home Depot with my parents and I would hear, even above all the noise and stuff, I could still hear what song was playing. Like I was that kind of kid. And I took music all the way through school. I played clarinet in the band and then I sang. And it's just kind of always been with me. Just something that keeps me out of trouble, basically.
So I think piano is your main instrument, right?
Yeah, and actually the piano was something I always wanted to learn, right? And I kind of learned like basic like chopsticks, like but I didn't really sit down to learn it until about 10 years ago. I went to a store around here. It's called BJ's Wholesale Club. It's like one of these places where you can go and like get stuff in bulk, and you pay like a monthly price, and you can get stuff in bulk. And they were selling a piano. It was a Yamaha DGX 230, which is what I used on Porcelain. Nice. And I just decided, you know what? Screw it. I just want to finally learn the piano. So here we are. And here we are like 10, 13 years later, and I know the piano.
Nice. Yeah, piano is one of those instruments that I've always wanted to learn, but I'm a guitar player first, so I can get by on piano. I know like basic, like how to make chords and stuff, but other than that, very basic. So how did you actually get into writing and recording music?
It actually started when I was about 8 years old. And I said to my mom, how do you write a song? Because I was listening to a lot of like oldie stuff from my parents, like the stuff from the 50s and 60s, because that's when my parents were born. That's when they were kids. And my mom said, well, you start with lyrics and you start with music. And she showed me how to write some lyrics and she showed me how to write a melody. And I didn't know anything about chords. I didn't learn chords until I learned guitar. Because actually, like you, like guitar was I picked that up when I was like 13 or 14. And I still have a guitar, call me Melissa Etheridge here, but I'm not really that great at it. Piano is really more my thing. But if the bug was kind of bitten by then, because I realized, oh, okay, you have lyrics and a melody, and that's how you write a song. And of course, I didn't know anything about chords, but that would come later. And then as for recording, I used to record stuff on my Fisher-Price tape recorder. I wish I still had the damn tapes, but unfortunately, I probably recorded over them. So it's like, I mean, they were shitty songs, but you know what? Everybody's got to start somewhere. So,
yeah. So who are your biggest influences? I know we bonded over Tori Amos.
Yeah, I would say Tori to a certain extent, with like just like the way that she's made vulnerability is like as a strength, especially in her music. But I would go back to even further to Kate Bush.
Yeah.
Because especially like the way that she uses her voice and everything. And I would say a lot of my influences are actually British. Like I like Tori Amos, or no, sorry, Tori's American. Kate Bush. I really love Kate Bush. I also love Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, really?
Like I think they're very underrated, especially in the United States. I went to go see them actually about 10 years ago, and they still put on a wonderful show. Because what I get from their music is not just that they're also LGBT, but also that the way they write their lyrics, they can be very dry humored. And I feel like that's kind of what I've started to develop. Like one of my favorite lines from one of their songs is, I'm kind of shy and dry and verging on ugly. And it's just like, I never hear like other like American artists like kind of like self-deprecating like that, and I love it.
Yeah, that's a very British thing, that kind of self-deprecating kind of sense of humor.
And I find myself doing that a lot too, with like, ah, well, kind of thing.
Yeah. So what is your kind of writing process like? How do you kind of come up with ideas? So I know that's sort of different for it. Like every artist has
Yeah.
their own method. So I'm interested. I always find it fascinating to hear about how other people come up with songs.
It comes from different places. Like sometimes it's just me jamming on the piano. Like I've had a kind of a I'm tired of like the ear in my ear with my day job and all that. And I'm just kind of chilling between calls sometimes. Like sometimes I'll get a bit of a lull between calls for work. And so I'll just kind of go over to my piano and jam. So sometimes the songs come from that. And then other times, again, while I'm waiting for calls, I'll just come up with a beat and I start writing over it. And I start top lining it. And I really love top lining because I feel like you really get to focus on the melody and everything and how it moves and like making something sound interesting over maybe just two or three chords.
Mm.
um, and sometimes what I'm doing is like trying to come up with an emotion, like something with how I'm feeling, like, oh, I'm feeling kind of depressed. Hey, how did when we write a song about that? Or it's something that somebody has told me. I was actually working on a song recently from when I did a show in Richmond, Virginia, which is probably about 2 hours away from where I live. It's the capital of Virginia. And I heard somebody say an interesting phrase. And so I wrote it down. And so I'm slowly working on a song with that phrase because it's just like, whoa, I've never heard this kind of thing before.
Yeah,
And
that's one of my tricks, to have a kind of a lyrics bank on my phone.
mm-hmm.
So I did that for a long time. Kind of every time I hear something kind of interesting or unusual, I'll put it down in my phone.
Yep.
And use kind of those as starting points for lyrics. So
Yep. And sometimes what I'll do even is like I'll take a song, like I'll take a line from that kind of document that I have like you do, and then I'll just kind of word association around it and just like word vomit, just like what kind of things can I come up around
yeah,
this particular theme. And but sometimes I don't know exactly where things come from. It just feels like, oh wow, it just kind of decided to go like, hey bitch, I'm here, I'm showing up, do something with me.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah, so I know you're big into Twitch streaming.
Yes,
So how's that been for you?
it is so much fun. I've actually I've always kind of done those kind of um, online shows to a certain extent, even way back in the day with Google Plus.
Mm,
And I used to be part of an artist community, kind of like NAS, but it imploded, unfortunately. But the idea was like, oh, we're all indie artists and we're all going to support each other. And we used to do Google Hangouts where we would do interviews kind of like this, or
yeah,
sometimes we would play music. The audio codec was absolutely shit, but we did what we could. And so I kind of started with that. And then I did another website called Street Jelly, which was like, oh, you put on the camera and you can play music and people can like tip you and stuff like
mm,
that. And then I went over to Facebook Live for a bit. And then it was someone I know who said, hey, why don't you try Twitch? And I have stuck with Twitch the longest because I like the community aspect of it. Like you're just trying to find your people in your community. And I also love the fact that I can just put on my camera and just broadcast to people around the world.
yeah,
It's really fucking cool. Like I actually get a lot of people because I guess the time I usually play, it's like afternoon my time. And so I get people from Germany, I get people from France, I get people from England. Actually, a couple of my frequent viewers are from like England.
yeah.
And so that's really cool because they're like, oh, yeah, well, I'm listening to you while I'm making dinner. And I'm just like, oh, yay, dinner. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm kind of hungry now.
So do you get many people that tune into your streams? I don't know very much about streaming. So
I do. Like, I get, it's usually a core 5 to 10 people that usually tune in.
yeah,
And if I streamed more, I probably would get more people in. And I used to do twice a week. I used to do a Monday and I used to do a Monday night my time and then a Friday afternoon my time. And I got tired because like the end of the day, like I have a day job where I'm using my brain a lot. And so I'm just like,
yeah.
so I was just kind of tired. And also the Wednesday show, I was like pressuring myself to try and come up with a song. That was a songwriting stream, and that gets a little bit much. It was like, oh.
Yeah, that's a big effort to write a song every week.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also just a lot of fun, just like the community aspect. And also there are things called raid trains, which is basically you set up beforehand. Like a raiding is basically when you're done with your stream and then you bring your viewers over to another stream to kind of like support other streamers and seeing what they're doing. And there are raid trains. So in specific communities, like, okay, you know, we're going to go and raid into each other's streams at specific times. And so those raid streams have helped me to like grow my audience a little bit too. It's just so much fun. And I really enjoy like the people who come back, and it's nice to see like familiar faces in the chat, even though you can't really see them, but they can see you. And so it's, you know, building that rapport with other people is really important.
Yeah, it definitely is. No, and I definitely get you. What you were saying about it being kind of exhausting to do it kind of twice a week. So obviously, as indie artists, there's so many different things to put your effort into. Like he's like you can only do so many things in a day. So I think you've got to kind of pick your battles really.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you play live in real life as well?
I do. I've been starting to play live in real life. Mostly in we have a lot of breweries around here in I'm in Southern Virginia. Probably about 3 hours south of Washington D.C., which is actually where I grew up. That whole thing there. And I've been playing around the area, the southeastern Virginia area. I've got some gigs coming up in Virginia Beach. And last week I had a gig in Richmond, which was about an hour and a half to 2 hours from where I live. And those are a lot of fun. They're at breweries. And so like you always get a lot of people there anyway, and they're like drinking, and it's like local, and it's also supporting local businesses, which is really important.
Yeah.
Where this area especially is really big on breweries. Like there are so many of them. And also I like going there and supporting them, and also getting some beer afterwards.
Yeah.
Because again, supporting local businesses. But those are a lot of fun. Like I'm basically my own roadie unless I have like my partner with me. This last week in Richmond, I was, little. You can't see, I'm like 5'3" on a good day. I'm like tiny little thing, and I'm like carrying these big things coming from my car. But I'm used to it, and it's a lot of fun. And I really enjoy just getting out there and seeing people face to face, like with Twitch, building that rapport with other people.
Yeah. I'm the same. I've been playing live for a while, so I'm in London, so there's lots of kind of open mics and stuff around. So yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of be in the same room as people and like play songs and kind of feel that reaction. Which I guess I don't know if you get the same on like Twitch or over the internet. So
not really. I mean, you do, but it's different. It's different because you can't actually see their faces, but you can see the stuff in the chat with all the little emoticons and like all the claps and stuff like that. So, and you don't also hear the physical clapping afterwards. You're just like, I'm done with the song, and then it's quiet. So you just have to expect like, hopefully they're clapping on the other end. Hopefully they're not booing or something like that.
Yeah. So now I've one of my favorite artists, Laura Kidd, pen friend, does kind of online gigs, and I've seen some of hers, and they're kind of really fun. I think just to kind of like for fans to go and watch and kind of that have that sort of intimacy with the artist, I think is really good. So yeah, what are your plans for the future? What's next for Cecilee music wise?
Well, I mean, we got our song coming out. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Yay. Oh my God. So we have that. And there's a couple other possible collaborations with some other folks in NAS. I've realized that, wow, I really like collaborating with other people because I don't usually do that. Like it's usually just me. I'm the only one of my friends who's really musical. So it's like, okay, well, I'll just kind of over here play all by myself. Okay. So I've got those in the works, and also I've got a cover song that I'm thinking of releasing later this summer. It's a song that actually my partner heard it on one of the hard rock stations on a Sirius XM radio. And she heard it and said, hey, you should try doing a girl and piano version of this. And I listened to it and I really connected with the lyrics. And I thought, yes, I can definitely put my own Ceci spin on this.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of releasing that later this summer. I need to figure out the logistics of releasing a cover song really to streaming.
Yeah.
Like I have one on my profile. I have a cover of Love and Anger from Kate Bush. Kate Bush. But I don't really remember what I did for that. And then for later this year, I'm thinking of doing an EP of LGBT love songs because I have some in the works that I've written. And also I have another idea eventually that I want to do an EP of songs that men have written about women, but then I sing them and I'm not changing the pronouns. Not all songs work like that. It's like there was one cover I was thinking, I was trying to get Waiting for a Girl Like You to work and it just did not work. Are you familiar with that song?
I don't know that one, no.
Oh yeah, it's by Foreigner. It's an older song from the 80s. Yeah. And I just could not get it to work because I feel like I would never say this to another woman. Like this is so obvious that a guy wrote this.
Yeah.
But there are other songs that work really well in that aspect. So that's one of my future plans, but otherwise I'm just going to continue writing songs and seeing what happens and all that fun stuff.
Where can people find you online if they want to find out more about Cecilee?
Oh, you can find me on Spotify under my first name. So it's Cecilee. And I'm on Spotify and I'm also on Twitter at Cecilee Music. I'm pretty much at Cecilee Music on most platforms except for Instagram. Instagram, I had to be weird, and it's never enough flowers for this life. And I'm also on Facebook at Cecilee Music. And also, if you want to hear me ramble about, we were talking about Kate Bush, you want to hear me ramble about my every single song. I'm going through her discography. I've been doing it since 2017. I have Strange Phenomena, the music of Kate Bush. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts.
Nice. Well, Cecilee, thanks for coming on.
Indeed. Thank you so much for having me. Yay.
Yay.
Taking my time.